Good early day Backroadians. Deborah the Bee back with another video from the Backroads 2. So it is early smurly, not that early. I woke up fairly early this morning. I figured I'd do a video today on a topic that a lot of nomads and also just people in general in the world right now kind of are feeling. And I guess I'll put it in a either or category. When you decide that you're going to do something like this, you're going to move into, say, a car specifically. If you have a van or an RV, it's a little bit more interesting, because of all the white vanners and the van life and all that stuff. And as far as the RV is concerned, it's almost like a house, real estate, let's say, right? But if you move into a car, it's far different. It almost is, well, it's the closest that one could get to, say, homelessness of anything, unless you're like, living on a motorcycle and you're pitching a tent every night or something like that. But there's two ways to look at it. Within this experience, and I think I got some mosquito bites last night because the weather was very stuffy and humid. There's a bit of rain and clouds and such, so I'll be itching all day long. But a lot of people will experience loneliness, or they are alone. So I figured I'd talk about that today because I myself have spent the majority of my life always around people and taking care of people and putting others before me. And I would say within the last maybe 10 years of my life, doing that was to my detriment. And at my age, that's kind of a scary situation where I put people first and it was to my detriment. And then, like, those people aren't even in my life anymore. So it's like, I think that when you put people first in your life and then they have an opportunity to do the same and they don't do that, you kind of, I don't know. A certain person would say they understand that based on the person's, life or, their experiences or who they are. But at the same time, you have to kind of cut those people out of your life because you realize that if you were in a sinking boat, let's say, yeah, I know. So loneliness, I feel like is something that is a choice in a way, because there's so many things that a person can do to not be lonely. But it is up to that individual. And if you're living in a vehicle and you're struggling financially, going out and doing things with people has its limitations. Like, you might not be able to do certain things. You can't invite somebody over to your house, there's not really anywhere to sit or to spend time, in. As I don't know, a van is different, as I said. It's a van, you've built it out somewhat, or an RV, it's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more roomy with a bathroom and a kitchen and a refrigerator usually and all that stuff. And I think that when you are living in a vehicle, it's something that you don't want to share with people because of that shame or that judgment that others will have of what you're doing, regardless of what your reasons are. Because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to understand that. They're going to think that, well, you could have done this or you could have done that. And sometimes people are going to say it's your own fault. It's of your own doing. And, that is true. But who are these people to tell you that? Why would anybody say that to somebody anyway? So that would be the lonely part. Let's talk about the alone part. Now, some people choose to be alone. Some people have had enough of like this situation I spoke about as far as, you know, the lonely part, or as the people that that you've put before you. That applies to both of these scenarios, and is oftentimes a precipitate, is that right? Or precipitates a person's desire to be alone. I think when you look or you shift from the lonely to the alone, it's very powerful, because you realize that you can be alone. And once you shift out of the lonely part, because the lonely part also will be someone maybe feeling sorry for themselves, or having pity on themselves, or just having a very negative attitude towards it, not seeing any avenues of change. But once you shift from lonely to alone, that's a different story altogether. And some people can shift from lonely to alone and can see the rest of their lives as such. And I believe that I've gone that route, as far as seeing myself being an independent contractor, let's say, and not having anyone else in the passenger seat, or the co-pilot, or me being in the passenger seat and having someone else driving. I think I've been in the driver's seat long enough to know that that's probably where I'm going to stay. I spent the majority of my life having people make decisions for me, and oftentimes they were not in my best interest. Oftentimes they were in the best interest of others. And when you are living that type of a lifestyle, it is something you accept, because there are others to consider. But when you're alone, there really isn't anyone else to consider other than yourself. So I think that once you shift from the lonely to the alone way of looking at this type of a lifestyle, it is a very powerful decision that can help you to move forward and see a life that you've made that doesn't have anything to do with anyone else except for you, you know? Now, let's say that you're alone, but you still want to do like humanitarian work or charity work, and you still want to care for others. I think that that's admirable. But I also believe that when you're alone, you're a single income family of one, more or less. So for me right now, I'm looking at this time that I have as establishing revenue streams, and things to occupy my time, you know? And I don't feel lonely anymore. During times like my mother's birthday, I went through, which was several days ago, I went through kind of melancholy memories and kind of reflection. But that lasted a little while, and then life kind of pops you back into the driver's seat, and you start to move forward again. So I just thought I would talk about this today, because I think that a lot of people in the world are lonely. And I think that a lot of people on the road are lonely, whether you're a nomadic individual that's traveling the country or the world, or you're somebody that lives in a small little town and lives in their car and, you know, doesn't really want to share that with people because they're just tired of people being judgmental and having their own opinion of what you're doing. So if you shifted from lonely to alone, good for you. And perhaps maybe someday you'll allow someone into your role, and maybe not. But either way, it's all good. I hope you enjoyed this video today. Get out there and spread those little pieces of peace. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it, or subscribe if you would like to see future videos. My name is Deborah the Bee. Thanks a lot for coming by. We'll see you all on down the road. Bye-bye.